Hi, this is Nancy Lee Deidre, and I'm here to talk about the Feng Shui, the pyramid Feng Shui concept of yin and yang. Why do most people like spring and fall as their favorite months? It's because spring and fall have a balance of temperature, have a beginning and an ending and a little bit of both, of plantings, of growth, of change. Whereas the dog days of summer or the hot days of summer are fun, they're an ending. There's not, in many places, certainly here in Florida where I live, a great deal of relief, and the same goes for winter. Yin and yang are the concepts in pyramid Feng Shui that denote the extremes of any item and how it is reflected in a home. Let me give you a simple example of the way to look at the extremes in a home. Take, for example, paint color. As we know, there are many levels of saturation that we can use to paint. We can use a really deep saturation, so we have a bright red, and then as we add a lightener in it, it becomes medium tone and light tone. So if you look, for example, around your home, and just by looking at the selection of the depth of saturation of colors, you will see if it's more yin or more yang. Now, let me define yin and yang. Unlike more traditional definitions, in pyramid Feng Shui, they don't actually represent what's called female and male. What they represent are intense or passive. So that the word yang is defined as that which has great intensity. Okay? Fire in a bonfire represents fire in its most yang condition. And when the embers are dying out, when they are mere charcoals with slight glows of red, then they represent yin, or the least intensive. So even though an ideal can be yang, like fire is yang, within the concept of yin and yang, fire can be a yang fire or a yin fire. So we first have to decide what is the general complexion of a home in terms of yin and yang. Is it intense? For example, take number of items. A spare environment is more yin. An intensely decorative environment is more yang. Until it becomes so intense, so overcrowded, that a person can't move, and then it goes back to being yin, because you have to remember that an environment is a habitat for human beings and how that affects on their behavior. Now, what is yin and yang in terms of behavior? Well, yin and yang are either, in a generalized sense, you being active or you being passive. Now, both active and passive can be either good or bad. There is no one good or one bad in either yin and yang. They have the potential of being both. For example, if you have a teenager, and that teenager needs to study and focus on one thing, well, you don't want a stimulating environment, a very yang environment, although stimulation can be good to approach a desk or to approach a computer. When you are sitting at a computer, for example, you should have a more yin environment. And my computer is a perfect example. If you look behind me, I mean between the triangle over there and all the dark colors and different items that I have on the wall, behind me is a very yang environment. But if you were seeing what I see, and let me see if I can turn this around. Because, get this back. I can't turn it around because the sunlight is too much, but I look out a window at a very peaceful scene, a scene that includes a tree, perhaps a bird or two once in a while. So when I'm studying, and when I'm writing, and when I'm talking to you, I have a very yin environment, one which helps me center, helps me keep calm, help me keep focused. So in deciding where you want yin and yang in an environment, know that an environment can have both. It depends on your point of view. If you want stimulation, for example, when you go into your bedroom to engage in perhaps sexual activities, that might be something you have a yang environment as you enter a room and you face the bed. Once in bed, you have a completely different point of view, and that point of view may need to be more yin. Yin and yang are other tools in pyramid feng shui that are looked at a little differently than you will find in more traditional feng shui. And you can always read about it in any one of my 8 books on feng shui, or by going to the Windwater website and the Feng Shui Institute of America. Thanks.